Hello and welcome to yet another session of the London School of Leadership, Investment and Technology. I'm your host, Nafiz Adam. Today we have our co-CEO, Abrunnaher Shifa, with us to answer some of the most asked questions by our mentees. Today we are going to have a short session where we will answer some of the most requested questions that we have been dealing with lately. Hello, Abrunnaher Shifa. How are you doing today?
Yeah, I'm very well, thank you. Thank you so much for having me. I'm very delighted to answer the questions that the students have to know going forward.
Right. Some of the burning questions that our students have is how to establish a legitimate route from the study visa to your ILR. Today, we are going to have our questions around this topic, and I'm sure that most of our students will get their question answered by after having this session. Most of the questions will be answered in this session, and if our mentees or the viewers have any more questions, they can easily comment in the comment box and let us know. We will be back with another session where we will try to tackle those questions. So, in this session, we have narrowed down five essential questions by our mentees, and we will go through one of those questions step by step. And I'm sure that Abrunnaher Shifa will answer those questions diligently and let us know about her feedback and her opinion. First off, let's talk about settling down in the UK. Many international students dream of staying in the UK for long term after their studies. Is there any way that the students in the UK can settle down eventually? I mean, what does the pathway look like according to you? If you may
Yeah,
answer, Nahar.
yeah, of course. Yes. So the short answer to your question is yes. There is a way to settle down for the students who want to settle down in the UK. But obviously, this is not an easy route. But there are two main pathways that the way you can do it. The first one is the most popular one, and this is the one the UK government is promoting for the students when they are trying to stay in this country. So the first one is going down to the sponsorship route. So you can get a sponsorship job, and your company will provide you a sponsorship visa. And if you become a sponsored employee for 5 years, you can apply for indefinite leave to remain, which is ILR. And after getting the ILR, you can apply for British citizenship 1 year later. So this is one route, and this is how you can obtain an ILR. And UK government is very much promoting this visa for the students, because these are the students who will be able to contribute to the economy, and UK government is obviously very much looking forward to these people who can contribute to the socio-economic condition of the UK. Next route is basically through the long residency visa, although UK VIA is not too keen on this, but this is a route again among very popular to the students, which is you have to stay in the UK in any visa, in any legal visa for 10 years, and then through naturalization you can apply for ILR. So the way of obtaining this route is staying in the UK on any legal visa for 10 years without any gap. So for example, you can be a student for several years, and then you can convert it to graduate visa, or you can be a spouse or a dependent of any of the legal visa holder. So altogether, if it counts down to 10 years, then you can apply for the naturalization process, because there is a humanitarian ground that if you live in a country for more than 10 years, then you are naturalized to that country's citizen rather than the original citizenship you had. So in that ground, you can actually apply for ILR and eventually British citizenship. So these are the two main categories that is very popular among the students. There are obviously other ways of obtaining ILR, but we are not delving too much deeper into those areas. But if anyone have any questions around those pathways, we will be happy to host another video on that topic.
Thank you, Abrunnaher, for mentioning these two essential points regarding the study route to ILR. My next question: many students are contemplating coming to the UK, but they are often lost about which level of studying they should target. From a layman's perspective, we are not always be aware of the options available around us. So could you please break it down for us that what student visa levels is applicable for the students? What level can a student arrive in the UK and legally work while studying?
Absolutely. I'd be happy to explain. As like any other countries, so you can come here for undergraduate degree or a master's or a research master's or PhD or postdoctoral studies as well. There are also short-term visas to obtain to come to the UK for studying, but we are mainly sticking to the main studentship in the UK for today's session. You can come to the UK for your undergrad degree like any other countries in the whole world. You can come to the UK for your undergraduate degree. So the undergrad level of studying generally spans in between 3 to 4 years. So it's 3 years for Northern Ireland, England, and Wales, and 4 years for Scotland. And you can also do your masters in the UK. Usually, it is a 1 year program, and also there is a research master's program which spans in between 16 months to 18 months time, and then you can do PhD. So a PhD is a 4 year program in the UK, usually depending on the universities. But depending on the universities, students can take extensions ranging from 1 to 3 years. So as a student, yes, you can legally work when you come to a university for studying. You can work, but that's only for part time, so which is 20 hours a week. But during the holiday periods, you can work full time, which is 40 hours a week. And also, students can work full time after the end of the program until their student visa expires. So there is a gap in between when your studies finishes and your when your visa finishes. So you can work full time in between these two dates.
Yes, absolutely. I think like many of the students are willing to finance their own education or even the living expenses being carried out some of our students. So it's a good thing that students can work
Yes.
besides their studies.
And students can absolutely support themselves while they are studying and working part time as well. So they might not be able to get the tuition fees, but it's very much feasible to get the living expenses done from working part time.
If I move on to our third question, is that some of us know that students can obtain work permits for a certain period of time if they graduate, popularly called as PSW. Can you please elaborate on this category? How many hours students can work, or what are the benefits of getting a PSW?
Absolutely, I'll be happy to explain the graduate visa route. Yes, that is absolutely correct. The students can obtain a work permit after when they finish graduating from any UK universities. This is called a graduate route visa. So generally, if you are an undergrad student, if after obtaining your undergrad degree or a master's degree or a research master's degree, you will get a 2 year work permit to apply for, where you can work anywhere full time, which is 40 hours a week, and you don't need a sponsorship for looking for a job or anything. So during this time, obviously, you can look for jobs without getting sponsored by an employer, and you can work for them. And employers also have the opportunity to justify if the candidate is ideal for the position as well. So I would say this is a very win-win situation for the candidates and for the employers to do the testing of the candidates and the market testing for the employers as well. So this is a win-win situation for the candidates and for the employers if they are working for the right people and if they are hiring the right people as well. Okay, so the next thing I would like to say that the duration of the work permit of the graduate visa. So it varies. So for undergrad, masters, and research masters, a student will get a 2 year visa, 2 year work permit visa, and for a PhD graduate who has done their PhD, they will get an extra additional 1 year, which is 3 years graduate visa if they finish their PhD. There is a confusion that people think that, oh, you will get a graduate visa in every level of studying. For example, if you are an undergrad student, you will get a 2 year graduate visa after finishing your undergrad degree, and then you pursue your masters. And will I be able to get that graduate visa all over again? The answer is no. So you will only get graduate visa once. So if you take your graduate visa after your undergrad studies, that's it. Even if you pursue masters and PhD afterwards, you won't be able to obtain the graduate visa anymore.
Thank you, Abrunnaher, for letting us know in detail about the graduate visa. So let's move on to my next question. I would like to ask you about the types of the master's program in the UK. We often hear about two types of master's courses, the thought masters and the research masters. Um, can a student apply for both the programs, and what are the critical difference between them?
Thank you, Nafis, for your question. There are many students who are more interested to come to the UK for their master's program, and I think it's a very good question that which level, which master's people should apply for, and which is applicable for who. So it is quite self-explanatory. The research masters is basically geared towards doing more research, and the thought masters is more classroom-based masters. So the students who want to apply for PhD, obviously research masters would be a very good option for them, or someone who wants to go to the industry and do industry jobs, then a research masters would be more suitable for those students. And regarding the question that if you will be able to obtain both of the masters, if a student did already a thought masters, will they be able to do a research masters or vice versa? So the answer to this question is yes, you can. So there is a law UK from UKVI in the UK that if you already obtain level of degree, you can only do a progressive degree. You cannot go back. For example, if you did undergrad, then you can only do a master's. But if you did a master's, then you can't obtain a student visa for doing an undergrad degree. So that means you cannot go back. It's only progressing forward. So research masters is obviously an advanced degree than the masters. So if you are a master's student, and if you have done already your masters and you want to move on to research masters, yes, if you can do that because it's an advanced degree. From January 2024, if you are a thought student, you are no longer be able to bring your dependents with you. So the research master students can. So that's why it has been a very popular choice among the students to come here in the UK to bring their dependents. But of course, this is not a very good reason for doing a research master's. You'll obviously have to be very passionate about research and pursuing your career towards that. That's the main reason why you should pursue a research master's. But again, students are looking into more into this research master's because of the perks that they can bring the dependents with them. If you are trying to be an academic and pursue your career into research, or you want to do a PhD, then research masters is obviously the point to go. But if you are not sure that which area you want to be in, I would suggest going for a thought masters first, so that you can progress to research masters if you want to delve deeper into the research field. Or if you want to go, if you decide to go to industry, don't do the research anymore, then of course thought masters is a good program. So for a undergrad graduate, for a graduate who wants to come to the UK for masters, I would suggest coming to thought masters first. And if they want to explore more into research or in the industry, then you have the option to do that anyway in both cases. Regarding graduate visa in any of these levels, I would suggest going for, if you want to pursue PhD, going for the graduate visa after PhD, because you are getting 3 years worth of graduate visa rather than 2 years. If you can obviously take graduate visa in between doing your masters or research masters or PhD, but I would suggest going it for after doing your PhD because the period is longer.
Definitely, I also kind of feel the same that getting the PSW after like finishing your PhD has a longer tenure where you can utilize your graduate route better. And at the same time, when you are staying for a longer period in the UK, you have already tapped uh, the culture, the industry, and you have a vast knowledge on certain
Yeah,
in particular
absolutely.
niche,
Yes,
and
yes.
then you find your job, and a 3 years graduate route will allow you to land in that perfect job with that sponsorship. Thank you, Abrunnaher, for all the questions that you have answered. I just wanted to ask you the last question of this session. That everything boils down to the money matter. So, what sort of money do you think students need to prepare themselves to study in the UK? We know the visa fees are quite an important aspect of the financial preparation as well. Can you please let us know about the latest figures?
Yeah, sure. So obviously, if you are trying to study and come to the UK, it's a huge financial commitment, and you'll have to be prepared to that. So there are two aspects of, two different branches of the payments that you'll need to make. One is for your tuition fees and your living expenses, and the next one is, again, it's very important. In the UK, we have quite high visa fees, so you'll have to be prepared to pay those visa fees as well. And there is also a health surcharge for the international students, so that is quite high per year as well. So I will drill it down to the exact numbers, the latest figures, so that students have an idea that how much money they will have to be prepared for before coming to the UK. So for regarding university tuition fees, it varies depending on the university. So if you are talking about a taught course, then per year it ranges from £10,000 to £40,000, if you will, depending on the university. Some master's courses in some universities are even higher than that. For example, if you are studying finance in Imperial College of London, it's over £40,000. So, but the most common range is probably £10,000 to £40,000. Is you will need the living expenses as well to live in the UK. So, in order to obtain a visa, UKVI has a standardized number. As of September, the number is, if you are living in London, then it's 1483 per month, and you'll have to show this money for 9 months. And if you are living outside London, it's a bit lower than that, so it's £1,136 per month for it before you are applying for visa. So this is the number that UKVI has published. Probably you will, if you live below the means, probably you'll not need as much money. Or if you are living a bit more generously, then you might need a little bit more than that. But this is more of a guidance that how much you will need. But you'll have to show this money before you apply for the UK visa. Now that we have covered the tuition fees and the living expenses, let's move on to the visa fees, that how much you will need to apply for student visa. So for a dependent and student themselves, the cost of the student visa is 490. So depending on how many applicants you have, you'll have to multiply with that. So for example, if you have three more dependents with you, then it will be four people's visa fees you are paying, which is 490 into 4. And then you will have health surcharge on top. So in the UK, the whole health system is free for the residents, but for international students, you'll have to pay the health surcharge fees before you come to the UK, which visa. So once you are done with your studying in the UK, you want to apply for the graduate visa. It's a bit more expensive than the student visa, and the graduate visa is £822. And plus, you will also have to pay the health surcharge. So if you are taking a graduate visa for 2 years, if you will, then you'll have to multiply the health surcharge, which is £1,035 into multiplied by two, because you're applying for 2 years worth of visa. And if you have any dependents, then it's also getting multiplied by those depending numbers. So that's basically everything that you will need in terms of applying the student visa and the graduate route visa. But again, if you want to obtain ILR, there is more charges applicable depending on which route you are going to.
Right, absolutely. Thank you for pinpointing all these visa fees and the living expenses, and also the tuition fees are required to be in the UK. I'm sure that this will help our students to manage their finances before they commit in coming to the UK. Thank you, Abrunnaher, for being here and answering all the questions. We will be coming to you again in the future with the questions that our mentees and the students may have. If you think if there's something unanswered in this session, you can leave your comments in the comment section, and we will be coming to you in the future answering those questions. And also, thanks to Abdul Nahar for being here. We are elated to have you in this session.
Thank you so much, Nafis, for having me. I hope I have been able to answer all the questions that usually a student will have before coming to the UK. But yes, there are so many other aspects of the student visa, the graduate route, and the ILR, everything. So we couldn't accommodate that in one video, obviously. But again, as you said, if the students and the mentees have any further questions, feel free to comment on the comment box below, and we will get back to you with other videos as well.
Thanks everyone for joining.